It's crucial to establish this early and frequently so that we can get through this COVID-19 pandemic together. We must work hard to maintain relationships, even though at a distance, through this challenging time. Stay positive. Most importantly, be supportive. So, I mean, just like all of you connecting with us today, we're so excited. Our students feel that same way. They want to feel connected. And what are some ways that we can really help connect to our students? So that's one of the key things we want to do in this time is feel connected. So I thought we would get started by getting connected. So I'm just going to ask you guys a few questions. And as your host talked about in the beginning, you've got something that looks like kind of like a little megaphone. And I'll be asking you some questions, and if you can just answer through that. So first of all, what grade do you teach, or what grade band do you work with? If you work with K through 5, if you'll just put a little check mark in your box, or you can just go ahead and put it in your chat too, that's great too. Or if you're working with 6 through 12, if you can put a little smiley face, that'll be awesome to see too.
I see, and Christy, grade 3, a lot of grade 2 and 3, 6, 12 in the chat box.
Awesome. We may have to clear the polling because I think we had the hands raised at first. So we may have to clear the polling so we can put in the checks and the smiley faces, guys. But yeah, thanks, Jason.
Yeah, you bet. A lot of elementary teachers, looks like, so far.
Awesome. We'll give everybody just another minute. Let's see.
Grade 7, grade 6. Grade 10.
All right. So yeah, so you guys can see we've got a wide range of participants on here. And so we want to make sure that we can hit something for all of you guys today. And that's one of the things that we'll definitely be doing. So I'm going to ask you another question. And like I said, if our host doesn't mind maybe clearing the polling, because that's another way that we can do it too, is through the polling. And so this question is, do you currently use McGraw-Hill Math Program? If you currently use the McGraw-Hill Math Program, if you don't mind raising your hand like you did at the first, and then if you don't, you can just put an X, or you can just put yes or no in the chat box. It's fine. Now, don't feel like you have to jump off if you've said no, because at the end of this too, I'm definitely going to give you a demonstration username and password so that you can go in and use some of this on the teacher end for sure. Now, those of you that do use the McGraw-Hill Math Program also know that this is so nice about the virtual learning is that we'll be able to share with you how you can assign things out to your students right from our math program, and it'll be very easy for you to use through this. So whether you use it or not, that's fine. I just kind of wanted to get a feel so I can make sure that you guys have the information. But know that we'll definitely be giving you ways to get on through our program as well. All right, so good information. Now I'm going to have one more question for you guys, and this one's going to be in the chat box. And if you could tell me in one word, math is. And Jason, this is where I'm going to need your help.
Math is a language. Math is think. Math is fun. Math is life. Math is a logical language. I've got math is fantastic. Math is magic. Math is action. Math is game. I have brainstorming, art of thinking. Math is joy.
I love it. Wow. Okay, Jason, if you'll give me 3 more.
Is essential. math is interesting. Math is from Sarah. Math is everything. So I think that's 3 more.
Thank you so much. Okay, so you guys see, this is the way that I can help stay connected. All I'm doing is just typing this in, and it's called a Wordle. And then watch here. I'm just going to click on it, and look at that. Here we go. We've talked about some of the math is words. Math is fantastic, everything, interesting, joy. Just a fun way to help your students connect with the mathematics. Now, I'll tell you, I did this with some of my students too as well, and you'll see I put up another Wordle, and some of the words that you guys put up were there, but also know with students, you might also get words like boring and hard, you know, and look over here, a headache. So, you know, we think it's magical, necessary, everywhere, ever changing, but just a really great way to connect with your students right there, and just giving them a chance to stay connected with you and your students. Another great video is, if you guys haven't connected with the Global Math Project, if you just kind of Google math is, there's a fun little video about in one word and students and looking and seeing. So I suggest that you think about those kinds of things. So with that being said, one of our contributors to our math programs is a founder of the Global Math Project, and he's allowed to help us with some of the key math things and being curious about mathematics. So how can we get curious? How can we get kids curious about mathematics? How can we allow all of our students to really feel like that they've got that positive math mindset, that I can do math? One of the ways to do that is with those really low floor, high ceiling activities. And I'm just going to give you a few suggestions about that. I also want to talk to you a little bit about our math instruction. If we think about our math instruction and what math instruction is, we've gone from this to this, and now within a past few weeks, we've gone to this, where our students really now are in a virtual classroom, and how can we, connect to them? So that's one of the other keys that I wanted to mention with this as well. So let's look at some of those questions and some of those ways that we can really stay connected to our students. So take a look at this picture right here. Maybe it's a video. Hopefully it's a little video. And perhaps we could just ask our students here, and you can tell me in the chat box, what do you notice? So I'll give some of you guys a chance to respond on what do you notice about this video? It's moving. That's great. Circular motion. It's a wheel moving. Fun, excitement, speed, windy. All right. Balance, cloud formations. Right, but think about that. I mean, we've got so much going on here, and all of our students can notice something, right? Everything's moving around. Yes, key things. Now, we can also ask our students, what do you wonder? So I'm going to transform from what do you notice? Now, what do you wonder? Is the structure formed mathematically? Is it safe? I love it. How do the clouds move? Is it cold? Are the people happy? Yeah, how it works. There's just so much. What's the location? So, is it too fast? What's the cost? Yeah, just so much that we can go. What are we wondering? So really key things there that we can talk about with our students, and how easy it is with just a simple video or a simple picture to engage our students and to stay connected. Another way to stay connected through math and get them excited about is just to ask them simple questions like this. Which one doesn't belong? So once again in the chat box, wow, I'm getting answers super fast. Some of you said 10. Some of you are saying 5. Oh, I'm getting lots of 5s. And I'm getting the 5 because it is an odd number and the other 3 are evens. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm getting a 10 because somebody said, oh, it's the only 2-digit number up there. But just think about the conversations and the ways that, once again, you can engage your students with just a simple question or a simple video on, and we want to stay connected. So key ways. Now, I bet you guys, if I gave you a few more minutes, that you can constantly tell me, okay, the 5 may not have belonged, the 10, but I bet you could also think of reasons for maybe the 8 and the 2 to not belong. So these questions are just very, very easy ways to help engage your students on the mathematics. As a matter of fact, like I said, one of our key contributors into this is Dr. Raj Shah, and he's one of the founders of the Global Math Project. And his goal is to really bring curiosity, wonderment, enjoyment back into the classroom and make just math irresistible for students. So whenever I think of math is, I always want to think of math is irresistible. So where can you find some of these activities? Where can you find some of these videos and things to do with your students? Well, one of the key places is through our Ignite activities. So I'm going to share with you how to find our Ignite activities into the program. And I'm going to share with the K-5 side first, and then we'll move to the 6-12 side. So you guys will get an idea of where we're going with this. Hopefully now you can see my screen of the My Math Teacher Center. Jason, do you see this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thanks. Just sometimes there's a lag, so I just wanted to make sure. So this is our K-5 McGraw-Hill My Math program, and some of you are very familiar with it. Others of you, this may be your first time seeing it. And remember, if this is, don't worry, we're going to give you a username and password so that you can get into here. But there's many great resources. This will always indicate a video, so you can always have students to watch. This tool right here will indicate virtual manipulatives, so great ways to engage your students online with base 10 blocks or key things like that. But as I mentioned, I want to share with you the Ignite activities. So I'm going to move over here to my menu at the top left-hand corner. And on here, I'm going to move to resources. And under resources, our resources are organized by lesson search, keyword search, and then if you have your own personal account, you can even add favorites into there. You can start and put your favorites into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to keyword search. And under keyword search, I'm going to go over to more. And the first thing I'm going to find is Ignite. Now, another thing I could have done is in the keyword search, just put the word Ignite and they would have popped up too. But I keyword search, more, and then Ignite. And then so here are some of the Ignite activities from, I believe, from 4th grade. I had to think where I was, from 4th grade. So you'll see, like example here. Here's an Ignite, and this one talks about fewest coins. Use the fewest pennies, nickels, and quarters to make each number of cents. So here's just a quick activity. You'll notice that I can download this activity. So you can simply download it if you're sending it to your students. I know some of our students are picking up print packages once a week or in different ways. If you're a McGraw-Hill user and you have subscriptions for your students, there's these tools right here. So I can simply pull this tool out and you can see that I can real easily assign this resource to my students. And whenever I hit assign, I can name this an Ignite. I can give them any special instructions that I want to. And then, of course, I can do a start date, an end date, when I want it to expire, so it doesn't show up on there anymore. And then also I can select all my students, or I can just select different ones that I want to share it with. And that easily, let me select some students. I can assign this. So very easy for you guys to see that with your students. Another key here is that you may or may not notice right below assign, you'll see that I can also share this with my Google Classroom. So that's another key way that I can do this. Now, Raj has been so kind to us. Not only has he given us this, but you'll notice that there's a big answer key there as well. So here's the ignites with the fewest coins. And, you know, students think about base 5 using pennies, nickels, and quarters. Students often understand base 10 place value better when they compare and contrast it with other bases, such as base 5. So we're really not going to tell students, hey, we're changing into a different base. We're just going to ignite their curiosity by thinking about pennies, nickels, and quarters. So you'll see that there's some great questioning that you can continue to ask your students and share this along the way with your students. So this is where the Ignite activities are found in K5. As I mentioned, you'll see this star. And so if this is one that you really like, you can just star it. And that way, whenever you come to resources, it's also found just right here in your favorites. So this is on the MyMath platform. And there's many, many other great resources here and ways to connect your students. If I go down here to this menu and I go to the very bottom, you'll see that there's my messages and my discussions. So once again, like what that math is, if I wanted to enable and start some discussions for this, I can certainly do that with my students, create the new topic, and allow them to create discussions here as well. So I just wanted to share that with you guys in the MyMath or the K5. I'm going to pause for just a minute. Has there been any Q&A questions about the MyMath site before I move over to the 612 site?
MyMath is for elementary school, question mark?
Yes, MyMath is for grades K through 5, yes.
Okay, these Ignites are in PDF form or the students can solve online?
Okay, excellent question. So these are in PDF form. And so let me go back to one and you'll see whenever I assign it to the students, whoops, let me go back, I'll just do it to from my favorites. Whenever I assign this, you'll notice that it attaches to it. And so what the student does is can download it, could either print it out and take a picture of it and then upload it to their My Files or send it, you know, on a separate document.
Thanks. That's it, Christy.
Great.
Just
Fantastic. Then we're going to move over and I'm going to log out of K5 and very quickly log into my 612. Just for ease of use for me, I have 2 separate accounts. Now, the beauty about this is that I can put all my K5, all my K12 into one account too as well. But I just have made it easier for myself. I just keep it in my 2 different accounts here. So I'll go into, how about an 8th grade? We call our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we call them course 1, course 2, and course 3. And then, of course, we have our algebra, geometry, and algebra 2. And then I also got some questions Tuesday about our integrated. So yes, Reveal Math does have an integrated path for high school, which is integrated 1, 2, and 3 math as well. So we have both of those. So here I am in Reveal Math. You'll see my dashboard looks a little different, but you notice there's still a menu over here to the different places as well. So I am going to go into my course, and if I go into any module, so instead of our 612 being organized by chapter, they're organized by module. And here, whenever I go into a module, you'll see at the beginning of the module, there's ways to launch the module. And the first way to launch the module is going to be our Ignite activity. And this one happens to be over scientific notation. So this is the Planetary Puzzler. And let me open this up in a new window for you guys to make it easier for you guys to see. So I've got Jason on here with my science. And so those of you that are waiting in the next 30 minutes to talk about science, you'll see that we do have some cross-curricular activities as well. So this talks about creating a poster for the science class, and that we need to decide the distances are so great that they take up a lot of room for the poster. So how can we write these and create this poster for our classroom? So once again, kind of like what we started out in the middle with that video, you'll see that we'll ask students questions like, what do you notice? What questions can you ask? Now, one of the nice things about this, in the K5 realm, these were in PDF form. You'll see here that these are also downloadable, but these are in a Word document. So these are in a Word format that make it easy for you guys to, for the students and for you guys to write and type on as well. Just like in the K5, you've got also the teacher notes for the explanations as well. In both K5 and 612, there are family letters. And so that's another way, I think, to really help stay connected right now. I don't know about you guys, but you know, I'm seeing so many people saying, okay, I'm apologizing to math teachers. I'll never question why you math teachers are doing it this way. Thank you so much. So these family letters might come in handy to send to parents, just to give them a little idea of some of the things that are going on in the math classroom as well. Some other things that really might help is both in K5 and 612 is we have these personal tutors. And personal tutors are basically just interactive whiteboard examples that mimic the examples in the program. So here's an example of some of our personal tutors that are found in this module, like writing expressions, using powers, multiplying, dividing, finding a power. So I'll just open up this first one so you guys can kind of get an idea of what this is. I know you may not be able to hear, but there's also going to be audio that goes along with each and every one of these. And I'm just going to fast forward through. But basically, it's just a great video tutorial for students as well as parents to walk in and connect on through the mathematics there. Now, just like in K5, in 612, you can assign any of these resources. So it makes it very easy. I can sit here and just simply hit assign, and I'll have some of the same types of formats that I can give them. It'll be an assignment name. I can give them any type of particular instructions. I can set times. Here I'll set my points possible and assign that to my students as well. If it's anything that has this little data bar on it, if you're in the 612, you'll see that also you can, the data will be automatically connected and graded for you. And so you'll be able to get reports as well. Another key about this, assignments, if you want to, once again, you can link this very easily to your Google Classroom. So I can simply click on this digital kebab over here on the right-hand side, And this digital kebab will easily allow you to either share this with your Google Classroom, or copy this to another class, or any key things like that that you'll find into the classroom. So something that's exciting and dynamic here in the mathematics. I'm going to go back to the dashboard and share with you guys a few other key things. If this is your first time to look at Reveal Math, and you want to remember that in a minute I'm going to give you a username and password. From this dashboard, there is a great clickable digital tour that you can definitely take a look at. You'll also see that if you want to go in and look at the Teachers Edition or the Interactive Student Edition, that's available there, as well as a direct link to Desmos graphing calculators, and scientific calculators. So that's a nice link there too. If you're browsing the program for the first time, I encourage you, or maybe many times when you're just looking at this, I encourage you to go to Program Resources. And underneath our Program Resources, there's going to be some fantastic resources, which not only include correlations and pacing guides, but for you guys, there's professional learning resources. So there's some great videos out here to help you with the why behind the math. Once again, I think some of these can even, you might want to review them, but they're by one of our professional development, Dr. Neville's, and they're really great for you guys to take a look at and maybe even share with your students. There's also some great videos by some of our other contributing experts. So I encourage you to go and look into this professional development resources, as well as there are some student videos. So I know that in Jason's session, if you guys hang around, that he's going to talk about foldables and a great way to interact with your students. You'll see those. There's also the help videos and key things there that you can really look into and use with your students there. Some of the other keys that I want to share with you is the fact that there is a link to Alex. And right now, McGraw-Hill has also offered to students the Alex resource free for the next 2 months, which is a simply an amazing program that your students really allow them to fill in their gaps or help them really accelerate into the mathematics. Now, my time is running out quickly. I have about 5 minutes. There are a few other things I want to share with you, but I also want to pause before I leave this screen to see if there were any questions on the 612 side.
Yes, Christy, we've got a few questions coming in regarding the platform, starting with, you show us if this Ignite is available for Science 6th grade?
So the Ignites are only available for, right now in math, and they are available K through Algebra 2 in mathematics.
Okay. I don't have Ignite part in the resources of the ebook, neither Teacher Edition nor the student one.
Okay. No, they're not going to be in the ebook. They're going to be found. The easiest way is, where do you want to go? And they're going to be found at the module level. And they are only online. And they're underneath the launch at the module level.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent question.
Is there any PPT file that the teachers can use?
PowerPoint, that would be PowerPoint slides?
Correct.
Okay, so that's another excellent question. For K5, there are some PowerPoints. For 612, we have changed and added many of our Geometer Sketchpad integrated into the web sketch. So our presentations do require that the students be online, but for each and every lesson, there is a presentation that you can customize and send out to your students. So I'm launching one of those right now. And you'll notice, here, once again, here's a great launch that just by looking at this picture, you can do that notice and wonder activity with your student. And this will take you through. You'll see down here on the bottom right-hand side, I've got my tray of resources. And so it's a much more dynamic presentation, but it is similar to a PowerPoint. Excellent question. That's awesome. Thanks for asking that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. McGraw-Hill Math, sorry, we're moving to McGraw-Hill My Math, has any kind of videos like question of the day, today's challenge, a video that would sort of start off?
Yes, so in the McGraw-Hill My Math, there are some launch videos at the beginning of each and every chapter. And then many of the lessons also have, you'll look for that little icon that has like the little video player, and many of the lessons do have that there with you. So yes.
Thank you. And
no worries. Thank y'all for the great questions. So you'll see right here, if you've got a phone or something, I suggest you grab a picture of this, take a screenshot. On the left-hand side, it's the website that everybody would go to would be my.mheducation.com. And then you may have your own username and password. And if it's been a while, please contact your sales rep. They can definitely help you get in with your own username and password. But if you don't have one, feel free to go in on my, the username is MHMyMath and the password is MHE2020. And that'll get you to our K-5 program. On the right-hand side, this is our Reveal Math 612. So you'll see the username and password there as well. And feel free to go in and look at any of those resources that you have for that as well. I also want to just share with you that McGraw-Hill Education has really stepped up in this time of virtual learning, and that they have created a site for you guys to support remote and distance learning. So just encourage you to go in, and all you have to do is go to MHE online, and this will get you to our support of our remote and distance learning and out of school. So there's great resources, downloadable resources there if you're doing any print packets for your students, or if you're doing any online resources, feel free to go and look at that. And one of the things that I did mention earlier, and I want to just reinforce, is that for the next 2 months, McGraw-Hill is offering each and every parent a free subscription to Alex. And why is Alex so important? Because basically it is a personalized learning resource for each and every student. A teacher described it to me best the other day. They said, hey, it is like every single one of my students having their own co-teacher. And that's exactly what Alex does, because it's a continuous cycle of knowing what the student knows, what the student doesn't know, and then most importantly, what the student is ready to learn. So it's a fantastic resource for you guys to use. And I believe, Jason, isn't there even a science course that's available under Alex?
Alex for chemistry, everybody to take the offer of the free trial. It is wonderful technology. I mean, it's designed to get where they're at to where they need to be. It'll improve their performance drastically.
Yeah, and it's, a lot of times people think it's for struggling learners, but it's also great for your overachievers. If you have any children at home, I encourage you to sign them up as well as your students. So I'm going to open the floor up to any more questions. Also, folks, I just want to say a quick thank you. Here is my email. If you need, there is no question that's, too please, feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. I received several from Tuesday and was able to answer them. If you need me to go back and review anything, I'll be more than happy to. Once again, take a picture of this. But remember that, math is theirs for their students, and we're super excited to share some time with you. So thank you.
We have two questions.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, yeah.
Can we just show the credentials for the demo again? And how long do they have access to the demo for as well?
So the credentials for the demo, let me back up right here. I think that's where we need to be. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's one.
This should last through, I would say, through June 30th, probably, for sure. Be my guess right now. But maybe even a little longer.
Okay, thank you.
And there are two questions, Christy, if we could go through them.
Yeah.
Do we get lesson plans for each lesson?
So excellent question. Yes. So like right here in show lesson information, that you'll see that here's the lesson goal, the suggested pacing, the domain and cluster of the Common Core standards that are being addressed, as well as the standards, the key vertical alignment, vocabulary. So yeah, it's all there, and it's here, and it's also very well laid out in your teacher's ebook, which is right here on the dashboard too. So you can get to it that way too. Excellent question. Thanks for asking.
The next one is, can the video in the resources be downloaded?
Most of those cannot be downloaded. And Jason, you may have a suggestion for this as well. But sometimes I'll do a Screen-O-Matic cast, or depending if you have an iPad or something, there's a Show Me app that you can use. But the students need to have a link to get to our videos. Those are.
Thanks, Christy. I want to explain graph online with students. How can I do that?
I missed that. I'm sorry.
It says, if I want to explain graph online with students, how can I do that?
So graphing online, well, one of the key ways is, like, for example, let me go into here, and I'm going to show you two different things that you could do. Like, let's talk about, maybe we want to talk about slope of a line, okay? So if you go to that particular lesson, you'll see that we have dynamic tools already built in to there. And if you look underneath here where it says explore and develop, this is going to be a great chance for your students to be able to explore the concept of slope. So I'm going to go here. And I did not reset this activity, so give me a second. I'm going to have to reset. Okay, so I mean, this somebody's going, this isn't a graph, but you can graph on a line, and I'm going to show you how to do that too as well. But here's just a great activity. I just want to share you guys that a quick interactive piece. So, like, for example, it says your goal is to send the point from start to the target. Change the values as needed. So what do you think will happen? And, you could have a virtual conversation with your students, because you'll see that there'll be a place for them to interact with it in a minute. But I can sit here and I can take a step, and I can think, oh, wow, what's going to happen if I keep taking these steps? Will I reach my target?
Oh, wow.
And so then, of course, some of our students will say, wow, got it, and then some of them may say, but gosh, that took so long. Now, is there another way that I can do this? And just to kind of give you guys a chance, I call it tinkering with the mathematics. people just call it a great discovery activity. But yeah, there's great activities here that go along, and they're all powered by the most dynamic software, Geometer Sketchpad. And so there's great different activities. This is just a quick one. Whenever you thought about graphing, that's just what immediately came to my mind. But I also want to share with you guys that in our program resources, we have a e-toolkit. And within that e-toolkit, I'm kind of slowing down because I want to make sure, are you guys, can y'all tell me if you're seeing my screen? Because it looks like it's a little delayed.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it gets a little delayed. Okay. So anyway, here's my e-toolkit. And you'll see right here that if I go in there, there's general tools that I can add. And then there's also different types of graphing tools. So do I want a coordinate grapher? Do I want a first quadrant? Do I want a graphing calculator? Do I want a number line? So I'm going to say I want a first quadrant grapher down here. And how cool is this? That I can simply go in and maybe I want to, whoops. Hang on, I think. Okay. Somehow, there we go. It got where something else got taken control of my screen. But so if I was just going to plot some points, maybe I was doing a dot plot or some type of statistics, I can do that. Of course, we can graph a straight line. If I wanted to do that, you guys can see. I can change the different values. I can do any types of different ways to be able to do this. So just a quick, that's a quick little idea. And in K5, they're called tools. There were that green little icon. I'll go back and show it to you real quick. And then here in 612, it's called the e-toolkit. And if your students have access to McGraw-Hill products, then they too will also have access to this e-toolkit.
Following this question, Christy, can't we use the Desmos tool for graphing?
Yes, 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 yes. The Desmos tool can definitely be used for graphing, and there's a direct integration link to that in our programs as well. In My Math, the tools are easiestly found right here underneath this little green icon. It's called Tools. And you'll see that the e-toolkit here is similar to the one you saw in the 612, but of course it's more age appropriate. So there'll be some coordinate grids, there's some fraction bars, some fraction circles, there's money, there's a number grid, pattern blocks. So tons of different things for you guys to take a look at and explore with your students.
Thank you, that's fascinating. We do have a couple of questions, but unfortunately time is up. We're up at the hour. We need to start the science session, but we have your questions in the Q&A box, so we're noting them down and we will be able to get back to you about them. Thank you so much, Christy.
Sure, thank you, and guys, stay connected. Thank you.
Thanks. There might be more people who have joined in, so I'll just quickly go over the login and what you can do to connect audio, where the chat box is. So I'll just go over that really quick and then pass it on to Jason. You're sharing your screen, Christy?
Okay, yes. I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much. And I should be able to share now. Okay. It's right, it's really slow today. I don't know why. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So this is the science section. A lot of you might be joining in now. People might be stepping in and stepping out, and a lot of you might have to connect your audio when you get in. So please use the audio to get connected. You can either use your phone or your computer audio, and then you should be able to hear us. We advise you to close any Netflix, YouTube, or gaming apps. That just takes a lot of bandwidth, and you might not be able to get a very good experience. We will be sharing the recording of the webinar. So we'll be sending that over to you in case you've missed anything or you had any question and it was answered during the webinar. And then obviously you could have the Q&As in the end. If you could see your screen now, there's a Q&A box right here. And just above the Q&A box, there's a chat box. So you could use the Q&A box if you have any kind of questions. So whatever the presenter is talking about, if you have any questions regarding the platform or you have any questions about how can I get in here, where do I find the resources, it's all in here. You'll type it here in the box for Q&A. You also have the chat box. You will use the chat box to engage with the presenter. So for example, if the presenter is going to ask you, what platform are you using? I mean, are you using McGraw-Hill? So you will write yes, no, yes, no. So you can type that in here in the chat box. You could also use the polling function where you will have to click on this microphone right here. I don't know if you can see a microphone here. And then if you click on it, it will drop down and you will see the option of yes, no, too fast, laughter. So you could see those options which you can also use. So I'm just going to stop here and just really quickly ask, can you raise your hand if you can hear us? Me? Okay. People have joined in, definitely, yes. Okay, you can hear us, excellent. So now I'm going to give the control to Jason. Stop sharing my screen.
Jason, I just want to let everybody know we had a little bit of weather here in Texas last night, and so I do think that there is a little bit of lag in our internet. So just to give you a heads up on that, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Can somebody send me the screen or give me control here? Let me see.
Yeah, Jason, I think the lag is not just yours. I don't know. It's here as well.
Okay. We like to blame everything on the weather here in Texas.
All right.
It is really sunny. But yeah, I'm just doing that, but I'm not able to sort of. Do you have control now?
Does it work? I just passed on presenter privileges.
I think Jason's got it.
Let me know.
Got it?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
I just want to brag on everybody that's participating. You guys have been so fabulous, and thanks for your patience with us too. So thank you.
See your screen, Jason.
Yeah.
We see your PowerPoint, Jason.
Now, what about now? Can you see what looks like a beaker?
No.
No, yet.
All righty, let me. Here.
I can see your PowerPoint, but not. You're kind of zoomed. You're not in the actual slideshow viewing.
It's just a big gray screen.
Here.
You know what I think it might be? It's the weekend here, so maybe there's a lot of bandwidth being used.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, now, Jason, we do see a beaker.
Yes, we do see a beaker.
Okay, I've got.
For half a we did.
See.
We see
Okay,
a
you see
my
the beaker?
class. No, now we see a my class inspiring biology. Now we see a beaker.
Excellent. Okay, there's a little bit of delay. And let me
Yeah.
try this. What do you see now?
Sir?
Class, biology right here?
I see an inspired biology class.
Yes.
Okay, we're good now. And now you should see PowerPoint again.
Jason, there is a delay, so we're not seeing the PowerPoint just yet. We're still seeing
Okay.
inspired biology, my classes.
Boy, that's a heck of
We're
a
seeing
delay.
gray screen.
It's gray now.
And just to let you know that there are some biology teachers joining here, Jason. So yay, exciting. And it's gray. Yeah, we still see a gray screen.
You'll see a great screen.
Yes, sir. Now we got your PowerPoint. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Yeah.
Let's go and get started. I hope I got this set up correctly. So
Yes, we-
welcome. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jason Marshall, and a session on remote learning. And so for the first part of this this presentation, we're going to talk about just some general practices, maybe some things you haven't considered yet, things you're learning along the way as you've been engaged in this remote learning experience. And then we're going to go from there to some science best practices. And then from science best practices, we're going to launch into our program itself, which is called Inspire Science. So start with just general home learning best practices, go into some science specific things, and then go into our platform itself. We have a K through 12 audience here. So please ask questions. We'll try to answer them at the end. But since this is such a broad audience, we may not be able to get to them all. So I think our hosts would be more than happy to set up sessions for K through 5, through 6, for 6 through 8, and for 9 through 12 to get into some specific areas that may be of more interest to you. So let's go ahead and begin. Remote learning in science. So this is certainly a situation we're in right now. We're not having students in front of us, see us. There's nothing traditional about what we're doing now. It's not even a blended learning or even a distance learning environment. What we're doing right now is home learning. And home learning is very different from remote learning and distance learning. I think a lot of folks that were going into this situation where students are at home and teachers are at home were thinking that, hey, I'm just going to recreate my teacher experience, my classroom experience. That's all I got to do. I've just got to put it all online and keep everything the same. It'll be consistent. That'll be the best approach. And quickly, teachers found out that really wasn't the best approach. You can't spend that much time online that you could in class. And a lot of other teachers also thought, you know what? I think a great time to bring in all the technology tools I've been dying to use. Everything that I've experimented with, this is the time to do it because everybody's on a computer. And they quickly found that's probably not the best approach as well. The best approach is really to start with the basics, the fundamental needs of our students. And when you think of this kind of a crisis, when students are at home, and a lot of them are probably fearful and not getting the same support that they do at school, and they may even take for granted, start at the basics. You know, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and students, they have some basic needs, and a lot of these basic needs they got with us at school. It might be a hot meal at school. It may be support. It may be confidence. It may be assurance. Maybe relationships with friends. And all of these things have been taken away from them. So So keep that in mind as you're going through these lessons. Start with the very basic fundamentals. Don't launch just into trying to recreate your classroom experience and keep students on task and holding them accountable and making and doing all those things that we think about in a regular classroom. This is a very different environment that we're all in. See, here is my home workstation. Now, here you have a laptop screen right here. Christy, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Making sure everybody can still see.
Yeah.
Laptop screen that I'm using right now. I have a printer over here. I have a little light here. This light doesn't give off much light, but what you can see, I have a light above me that really makes this place well lit. I've got these gloves from Amazon. It's 200 rubber gloves. I've kind of gotten paranoid with this coronavirus, so I wear them to the store. It has nothing to do with my workspace, but they happen to be on my workspace at the time. And I have a chair here, comfortable chair. Now, this is a picture of my workspace, and I suggest you share a picture of yours with your classmates and give them tips as to what a good workspace should be like, because they probably don't know. They take for granted the workspace they have in school, that it's well lit. Pick of your workspace and post it, and ask your students to take a pic of theirs. Show them what makes a good workspace, because they don't know unless we tell them. So let me show you what I think you might consider. So remove clutter and distractions. Tell them, hey, this isn't your workspace. This shouldn't be a place to have your games or your magazines or those things that might keep you off task. Just the things you need in this workspace. Make sure you have an appropriate amount of light. Go to a well-lit place in your room. And your students, they may want to study in their bedroom. They may want to study in some place where they can find some space. And they take for granted how well lit our classrooms are. They're going to be watching the screen so often now. It's important that they have a very well-lit space. Stationary chair. Now, I have a swivel, really comfortable chair. You may have one of those in your classrooms, ones that you can spin around, lean back on. And we're used to those, and we can work with those, but our students can't. So having a stationary chair is important for them. And it just removes the level of distraction. It keeps them from spinning. Have all the supplies you need, pencil, paper, available at hand. Connecting equipment, PC, laptop, Chromebook, tablet, smartphone. Make sure you have that available to you. Make sure equipment is there for you. Timer, and I think this is an interesting one. Keeping students on task is going to be a challenge for them. So time management tools like a timer and a calendar is something I would suggest you you tell your students at home. The bell keeps us timed correctly during school, takes us from one class to another. But your students don't have this sort of a time management tool. And you are probably discovering that you have to come up with strategies to manage your time at home. I know I do. And so a timer and a calendar, time management tools are great tools to have for students. So this is basics. These are fundamentals. And so think of fundamentals your students are having in this home learning environment, okay? So your turn. Go into the chat box and tell me, have you made any workspace suggestions for your students? Or have you thought about it? And if so, what might you ask them? So go ahead and put it in the chat box. And Christy, if you wouldn't mind fielding some of these. I don't have my chat box.
Yeah. You know, and Jason, just me personally, I found that I've had to change my workspace several times because I thought my dining room would be a great place, and it wasn't. And so, you know, because there was too much going on. And so, honestly, I had to move to a quieter place in my house, and light was very important to me too. So that was another one. And then, and we're getting some chats that say, no, honestly, I haven't thought about it. And then just even for my child at home, she tried her bedroom first too, but she found herself sleeping on some of her work. So we moved her to a different place, workspace. So, you know, you have to consider that sometimes things may have to change.
Yeah, things change. Absolutely right. Well, Well,
But most of the chats is that honestly, I haven't even given it a thought, and
okay.
you really do have to think about it and just do your students. I know that some of our colleagues, like there's one computer in the house for 3 kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody says mine is a cozy, lovely pink chair. And a headset is also useful. Somebody added a headset's also useful.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's something we take for granted. Adjusting here as teachers as well. So let's continue. Another best practices, fundamentals, is post a checklist. Keep it simple. What are the things that you want students to do that day? 1, 2, 3. Or maybe you don't make it a day. Maybe you make it a week. Having long lists will confuse your students. Keep it very simple for them. Let them know exactly what your expectations are from them every single day or every single week, and put it in a checklist. Now, different platforms might offer you the ability to create those checklists, but keep them very simple. Next best practice real fast is video. Your students are used to seeing you. They're used to seeing your face. They get context clues from watching you and listening to you. So give them a chance to see you. Make a screencast of yourself or take a video of yourself on an iPhone. It's just that easy, and send them to them. And it may be just a, yes.
We're one, okay, we were one slide behind you.
Okay, go a little bit slower here.
That's okay. So now we're at the video one.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Christy. So
sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
Seeing your face, used to hearing your voice. Give them a chance to do that, and send them a video. And it could be very simple. Hey, good morning. Good to see, good to talk to everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Today we're going to talk about cells. I sent you a checklist this morning. Keep it very simple, and things they need to keep in mind on that checklist, but they're used to seeing you. And having written instructions for the day are a little bit different from having them see you, your face, having them hear your voice. So I suggest you do that. Stay in touch with them. They're used to saying you're successful if you give them a chance to do that. The other thing I would say is if you also used to your personality. And so when I taught middle school science, I'd often bring my guitar into class. And so students were used to that. On Friday, it's guitar day. And I would talk about science. Whatever it is that your students know you for, whether it's a guitar, maybe it's your dog, share those things with your students. Keep it personal. Keep those relationships going. I know Christy talked about staying connected in her session and relationships, keeping those going. Making sure that student-teacher relationship continues is real important. Here's my dog. He's in the backyard from a couple days ago, practicing social distancing like the rest of us. But if your students are used to these things from you and your personality, make sure you include that in this learning environment. It's important for them. And even the high school students, they don't think they care about these kind of things, but they care about them just as much as the K through 5 and 6 through 8 students. So share your personality in this remote learning environment. Now, I you are probably using Zoom, WebEx Meeting, Google Hangouts, and some other web conferencing tools. And if you're using these, we're using WebEx right now. And if you're using these with your students, that's great if you can. If you could only do it once a week, that's fine also. And tell students, we know that some of you may not be able to get on at the assigned time, and that's fine also. It doesn't have to be mandatory. Because like Christy said, your students are competing with other family members for that device time, and they just may not be able to get on the meeting when you assigned it. So know they have sisters at home, parents that are probably working from home now. Everybody's clamoring around that device. There's only so much screen time to give, so be considerate of those things. We just can't expect for our students to be on devices all the time. So have you used videos or pictures to stay connected with students? Go ahead and send us something in the chat. Is that something that you've incorporated either through a tool like WebEx or Zoom or Google Hangouts, or have you just sent pictures to them? I see videos. I see always in the chat. Very good. Yeah, it's good for them to see your face and keep those relationships going. We use Pick 8 videos. I haven't heard of that. I'm going to look that up. Always. Zoom, Padlet, Google Hangouts. I like Google Hangouts. Everybody seems to like Zoom. Class Dojo. A lot of Zoom seems to be the big, the popular one these days. There's Pick What's Up. Pictures What's Up. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that, chat. So, you know, keeping these relationships going, Canvas application, keeping these relationships going, keeping them seeing you and hearing your voice is going to make them so much more successful. We may be able to keep on task and be successful with the written word. Our students are less successful with the written word, a little bit more visual. They need to see you, they need to hear you. It's a reassuring voice. So let's continue with a few more best practices, and then we'll get into science. The other thing that science class around the country have learned, and by the way, some of these tips I've got from a website called shakeuplearning.com, and I listened to some podcasts with some teachers that were teaching in China remotely before any of us, the rest of us were. They had shut down, they were teaching remotely, and they quickly discovered some of these things that I thought were pretty interesting. And so I just want to make you aware some of these ideas are coming from shakeuplearning.com. Reduce the workload by half. What you're probably discovering pretty quickly is it takes twice as long to do half as much work. Now, this may not be a popular idea. I know students need to get through a requisite amount of content for that year. I know that. It's going to be challenging to do that, though, in this environment. They're competing for that workspace. They're not used to concentrating online. Just keep that in mind. Reduction in workload. And along those lines, no hard deadlines. Give students a little bit of leniency on this thing. This is a unique situation for all of us. Competing for workspace, competing for devices. Some students, Susie may not be able to do her work until the evening. That's when a parent gets home to help her. Another student may not be able to do the work to the morning because he has to get it done before a parent leaves for work. So you have all of these different situations, and just keep in mind the workload and the deadlines. We need to be a little bit flexible in these times. Voice and choice. So if you are interested in trying something new in remote learning, and I encourage you to keep it as simple as possible and keep it as familiar as possible, but something that is new that I think can be successful in a remote learning situation is giving students a little voice and choice. And you could do that through choice boards or learning menus. And here we have a menu, and give some choices of some activity at the appetizers level of this activity. Then maybe some choices for the main course. Maybe for a side dish, they have some more choices, and then some choices for dessert as well. And giving students choice always also gives parents choice, because they're helping their students at home as well. And so they may be more comfortable with some content and activities than others. So giving choice is a really nice thing to do. It could be through a tic-tac-toe board, a choice board, a learning menu. Giving students these choices is a great activity to do. Projects. Now, projects can be a great activity in high school. It's a little bit more challenging remotely in middle school and elementary school, but keep that in mind as well. And one of the tools that we use to students involved with projects is something called Science Sync Blast. Now, Christy, can you see my screen? It says Sync Blast.
Yes, I can. Yes.
So here, now what are Sync Blasts? These are great tools for grades 6, 7, 8, and then high school. These are research projects. These are web quests. These are activities that take students online. This is a tool that gives students choice as to what they might want to do for this project. So if I go to my channels, notice that I have channels for middle school life, earth, physical science. I have high school chemistry, physics. I have engineering. I've got a lot of different choices of places I can take students. And let's say wanted to go into, well, let's just keep it here, high school biology. And I'll scroll down. I have all of these different images here correspond to web quests or internet activities. They're updated weekly. We use SyncBlast, Science SyncBlast. And I'm going to jump into this coronavirus explained. So here's a teacher lesson plan for this activity. Give you an idea of what the overview is, what the quick poll questions will be, what students will see on their side. There will be some content background for this activity. Giving you an idea of what students are really going to dig into. Here are the research links that we're going to be asked students to go and do additional research for. And if you wanted to look at it from the student side, you go to Ebooks and click Preview Blast Assignment. This is what students see on their side. It's loading here, so you probably can't see it just yet. It's a little bit slow. Here. And it says coronavirus explained. How should we protect ourselves from COVID-19? And I scroll down, I have a video that I watch as part of this assignment. I won't play that, but you can if you explore. I scroll down, I've got some background information for my students. I have a little number crunch here, or a factoid. So it's giving me a number 20. I'm trying to guess well, how does that involve with coronavirus? What could that represent? It recommends that people wash their hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. So I had heard that as a student. As we scroll down, I have some web links that will take me to additional information on the coronavirus. So this is a self-contained project. And as a student, after I do all of this, I do my research, I have a quick poll over here to the right that I can open. It's going to ask me a few questions about what I've learned. Vocabulary in this activity. So acute, what does acute mean? Let me see what my choices are. And I have some choices as to what acute means related to this activity. Respiratory, what does that mean? So vocabulary, I have a comprehension section. Again, it's asking me questions related to this web quest. And then I have a blast. Now this is what it's all about, is students writing about their thoughts related to this activity. So how should we protect ourselves from COVID-19 based on what you've learned? So students share what they learned and how they think we should protect ourselves. And there's a peer review component to this. So students can see other students' blasts. They can respond, hey, I really like what you said about that. I thought the same thing. I didn't put it on my blast, but I was thinking the same thing. It's communicating in a way that's very familiar with them, peer-to-peer. So the peer-to-peer component is a part of this Sync Blast as well. Now, there are so many channels to choose from, 490 right now, 3 additional ones coming every single week. So Sync Blast is one way that you can give students some choice. And you could send them multiple Sync Blasts and they can choose which one that they choose to work on this week. And then send that blast to them, to the students and to you at the end of the week. Sync Blasts, web quests found online. The other tip I'd suggest before I get into science is stick a platform and just choose a platform and stick with it, whether it's Seesaw at elementary or Google Classroom or Inspire Science, which is what we use, Microsoft Teams. It's not a time to switch platforms and have students learning things. The other thing I would suggest you do is for every assignment you give, number it. So if you're giving a vocabulary assignment, number 1, vocabulary assignment. It may seem pretty granular, but when you're going back and communicating to students visually or online, it's easier to say, hey, turn in assignment number 1 or remember assignment 15, as opposed to saying, hey, let's talk about that assignment. You know, the one that involved the web quest. Give every assignment a number so they know exactly what assignment you're talking about and everybody is on the same page. That's a tip that that has been shared around the country. I talked just about that just a moment ago. So your turn. What online tool has been most helpful to you so far? Which tool relied upon the most so far while working from home? Students at home. Classroom. Okay. Google
Classroom, Zoom, Edmodo.
Firefly, Microsoft Teams. Well, we got all sorts of different platforms being used out there. Nearpod, I hear good.
Yeah, but Jason, I think your idea is so good about the fact that just stick with one and, stick with it.
They got so much on their plate. Can you imagine, having another platform you got to figure out? It's just too much. Google Meet, Microsoft. Thank you so much. Great sharing there. So let's continue on here. And next thing I'm going to share with you is have them give some activities to get away from the computer. Okay? So spending all that time on the device is probably not healthy for them. That's even if they can get to that. We talk to the flat family members. So give them opportunities to get away from the device. I know in my classroom, everybody in my district was encouraged to get away from worksheets. We don't want to do worksheets and have these pen and paper activities. But you know what? In this environment, it may be a time where we have to assign a little bit more of those than we're used to give students a chance to get away. One of the resources that we have in our program that allows students to get away from the computer and be creative is called Foldables. Foldables are three-dimensional organizers. We know students that use graphic organizers, they consistently outperform students that do not. We've been partners with Foldables for about 20 years now. Foldables have become a successful graphic organizer system in the world. They're only found in McGraw-Hill Resources. And here's just some examples of one. There's a bunch of different types of folds that you can make. All different varieties. Your creative students love them. We're science folks. You got a lot of creative students in your classroom, artistic students. It gives yes.
We've got a lag, so we're not seeing any foldables.
You're not seeing any. Tell me what you do, Christy.
I'm so sorry.
I think I'm going to have a little bit of a lag today.
Yeah, I think you got a little bit of lag, but yeah, so we're not seeing any of your examples.
Let's see here.
But I can see 4. All the screen time is bad for you and your students.
You see a foldable that says independent variables?
No.
Responding.
Now we do. Now we do.
Now we do, yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And so these three-dimensional graphic organizers are great to use. And if students want to share these with you, all they have to do is take a pic of, and so they can share those foldables with. In Inspire Science, we have videos on how to create each one of these foldables. These are things that in a classroom we create together, but remotely, it's kind of nice to have a video of hands showing me how to create these foldables. And they're really, really easy to make. One of the things that you can do with foldables, a science fair-like experience. Let's say module 5 has lesson create foldable, and you can create a portfolio of your notes, of your thinking, whatever you choose, however you choose to use it for that module. Students are creating these foldables, and it can be in a folder folded inward. It can be paper, science for projects, a great way for students to store and organize their work. Foldables are absolutely wonderful. Students love them because they're fun, they're creative, they allow them to express themselves. And teachers like them because they're so effective. So consider foldables in your classroom as well. So what to do now? And prepare. So situations. And the big thing I'd say is just keep the lines of communication open with you and your students, with the parents that are helping their students. and just stay as connected as much as possible, okay? So what about science? Let's get into some science here. What are some things that we can do to get thinking about the last 3 years is a term called phenomena. So phenomena is an event. It could be a video, an image, a situation that students must consider or think about. It's designed to be a curiosity that launches a lesson. So here I have an image of a tree. It's a mustard tree. Can you see the tree, Christy?
We're still seeing the foldables right now.
Hey, Jason, I think a lot of people are struggling to hear right now. I'm not sure if it's the connection on your end.
And Brandon, will you turn off your video? That may help a little bit. Because it seemed like it got lagged whenever. Okay, so Jason, we're still at the foldables with the volcano, 4 volcanoes.
Foldable. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking it was going to catch
Shoot.
up. It's okay. Hey, it's technology and.
Okay.
I think it's also because it's the weekend here in Middle East. So remember on Tuesday, we were not having any issues like tech, but I think it's more so because it's the weekend here in Middle East. So probably there are a lot of people on the bandwidth and everybody's probably watching Netflix now.
Well,
It's really a delay here.
We'll give it a second.
we got a tree, Jason.
See now.
Yay!
Oh, excellent. Okay, well let's see how this goes here. So
Okay.
we've got a big tree on the left-hand side, and that's a mustard tree. You can see how big it is because there's some people standing underneath it. Can you believe that tree came from a seed this small? Now, how is that possible? Where did that mass come from? And so a phenomena is designed to get students thinking and get them curious. When I was in science classrooms, a traditional old school classroom, we read on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday maybe, and then we had this lab day on Thursday or Friday. And we didn't start with something that was a curiosity or a high interest feature. Now, a phenomena can be an image like you see here. It can also be a video. So let me know when you see the video and it plays itself over and over again. Here we have a glass and water is being poured in the glass.
Not yet. Yes.
Okay, very good. So what's going on here? It's getting replayed here. Water is getting poured in the glass. The arrow that is pointing left on the bottom points right. What could possibly be causing that? So phenomena are designed to start lessons and get students thinking, generate student questions. That launches a lesson. These are great tools to use in a remote learning environment. Lessons begin with a phenomena. So I have go online to McGraw-Hill site, and I have and something called the triple. There is a point of temperature and pressure where nitrogen will both and boil at the same time. Now that seems contradictory. It almost seems impossible. How can that be? Well, there is a point. A certain condition can happen. And so here we have a beaker. You can see that, maybe you can't. Where things and boiling at the same time. Now, I'm going to pop up.
We're hearing about every third word, and we're still seeing the glass.
Still seeing the glass. Okay. Well, I'm going to stick to the. We'll go online. Maybe I close out a few. Maybe that will help a little bit. So
Yeah.
another tool that you might use, graphics. So infographics combine both images and text and convey some sort of meaning or message or information to students. Consider sending them an infographic and have them analyze it, interpret it. What is the infographic telling me? What is it not telling me? What I gain from it? So consider an infographic as a possible remote learning environment. Now, when it comes to media, videos, animations, personal tutors. Now,
Yes, sir.
Jason, can you hear me? I don't know whether it's worth doing a quick hands up on who can actually hear and see the screen. So I've got a lot of people commenting in the chat, just saying they can't hear or see the actual screen that you're sharing. So I'm just going to clear the poll. If you can hear and see the screen, can you please put your hands up? We've got about 45 out of 290 people. There's a mixture, okay.
You just may have some bandwidth issues for this session. I'm not sure if they can be overcome. I'm using an alternative internet device because my modem was fried last night with a storm, and there's no getting a new one until Sunday, so that may be causing the problem as well.
Okay, no problem. We'll try to continue and get back to people as and when we can.
I'm going to try to keep this simple, and I go online. Right now, I have a something called a page Keeley probe on the screen. It presents a for classrooms. And so this one is called the mitten problem. Now, Paige Keeley is a former president of National Teachers Association. She's a wildly successful author to our science programs. And she's created these formative assessment opportunities that are found at the beginning of each one of our lessons. This is an so you may not, hopefully you can hear at least this scenario. Science class is investigating heat energy. They wondered what would happen to the temperature reading on a thermometer if they put the thermometer inside. So, two thermometers and a mitten placed you in the same place. Imagine the room that you're in right now. Two thermometers and the mitten. They put one thermometer and the other thermometer next. An hour later, they compare the readings of thermometers. The experiment. Sarah's group will discover from investigation. So
Jason, we've lost almost all contact with you. We still see the phenomenal on the screen and we cannot hear you.
Yeah, it's quite weak. Have you got anything on in the background that could possibly be affecting your internet or your connection? Because I'm in London and I'm having the same issue.
Was fried in a storm last night, so it may not.
Jason, are you connected? Are you connected through your phone or your computer audio? Okay.
Hey, Jay, I think we may have to, the other key thing that we could do is, remember, we did record this on Tuesday, guys. So those of you that are in the science, we might be able to send that part of the recording out from Tuesday. Jason's modem was fried. We had a horrible storm come through Texas, the Houston, Texas area last night, and his modem was fried. So he's trying to get his internet through his phone. And I think that's what's happened. And I also think, Jason, probably a lot of people in your neighborhood have woken up now. And so there's a lot more bandwidth being used in your neighborhood. So that might be happening too as well. So it is.
We have recorded.
Telling me everything you're saying is so interesting. They're hating that they can't hear you.
Yeah, same here. People really want to know. They're like, this is very interesting, but then they're having issues trying to hear you, unfortunately. But we're sorry. We can check. That's a great idea, Christy. We have the Tuesday recording, and someone's saying, how can we hear the Tuesday recording? So we will send you the email for the recording, and you will be able to hear Jason speak about the exact same thing that he delivered on Tuesday. I hope that's going to help.
I will share is that, like I said earlier, if there are K through 5 groups that would like for very specific focus, and be happy to just let us know when we can schedule those.
So guys, I think what Jason's saying is, once again, it's about every third word. And we're all going to offer this, Brandon, Jason, and I, is we would love to come back and offer maybe some more specific, like either K5 or in Brandon's case, K6. My case, I can do, a middle school, a high school, Jason can too. And we'll even do some more specific webinars. If you're interested, just please let your host know. But we appreciate your patience with this, and we will definitely send out Jason's recording from Tuesday.
Yep.
We might want to move forward with Brandon.
Yeah, and we've had questions from this session as well. There are about 3, so we're going to put them down. Apologies for any inconvenience with this. These are extraordinary times, like someone mentioned, and yes, these are. We did not know something's going to happen, and yes, this is technology, right? So the session was delivered on Tuesday, and we should be able to give back the recording to everyone. And also, like Christy mentioned, we can have future webinars where you guys can have specific ones. So for Inspire, let's say what Jason delivered, it could be K5 and then 6 and then high school. So we could do it that way. I'm just going to quickly go over and share my screen, and we can, because I believe there might be a lot of new people who have joined in. And just to go over how you can use WebEx, and I know this is a new platform and where you can do what. So we'll just go over that, and then we can hand it over to, so Jason is saying, sorry, please feel free to reach out to me if you can. Jason marshall@mheducation.com. That is JASON.marshall@mheducation, education.com. Okay. Jason, can you please pass the controls? I will just share the presentation really quick.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you.
The recording of this.
Awesome job, Jason. Thank you.
There you go, Brandon.
Okay, I have this now. Just Brandon, give me 2 minutes to just go over this, because there might be new people who have joined in, and we just want to make sure everyone knows what. So we're starting the English session now. I know a lot of you waited. When is the English session going to start? So we're starting the English session now. The science session and the math session have ended. We will be sharing the recording with everyone who have joined in. So you be sure to see that in your inbox next week. Before we begin, a couple of things to just go through. If you're using WebEx, this is WebEx meeting, and you're not able to hear, because once you log in, you will have to connect to the audio. Now you can call in and connect to the audio using your phone, or you could use the computer for the audio, then you will be connected from your device. If you're at home, of course, we'd recommend that you put any extra high bandwidth apps logged off, including someone in your house who's using it, for example, Netflix, YouTube, or any gaming platform. The slides and the webinar recording, like I said, we will be sharing the recording of the webinar with you. We will be able to have Q&As at the session. At the end, Brandon will give you a stop and then we can go over them. Just quickly going through, so on your right side, you should be able to see the Q&A. That's your box. And you will have, if you have any questions, you can type in the box for Q&A. Right there. If you want to chat with, you want to engage with the presenter, if Brandon has any question, for example, you can answer that in the chat box, which is just above the Q&A box. And for any polling function, if you want to engage with the speaker, for example, you can't hear something and you ask a question, there's a little microphone here. If you click on the microphone, a drop-down menu will appear, so you could go yes, no, too fast if you have to respond to a polling. That's it for now, and I'm just going to go over and give the control back to Brandon, and then we can start with the English session. Okay. Brandon, we're having trouble with the bandwidth today, oddly.
Oh yes, I've heard. That's difficult when you only hear about every third word, and it was a smart move just to bet. It's best to just end it because it's not working.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. That was a great idea to share the recording.
Yeah.
Of the one that we did on Tuesday.
Yep.
Brad, you're coming through good. So what a difference a few miles in Houston makes, right?
That is right. Okay, I am now the presenter.
Have fun, y'all.
Welcome everyone. Hi. I know probably did introductions. Yes, I know we still have 10 minutes. Hi, Zahara. Look at that. People interacting already. Yes, we're a little early. Okay, your friends are coming. I see you. Well, I will talk slowly. Hi, Olfat, I guess is how you say your name. Hi, Heba. Look, everyone's saying hi to me. I'll just wave. Hey. Farara. Hamed. Hi, Hamed. We have a Dr. Shahika. My gosh. Doing good to be able to say some of these names, y'all. Mohammed, hello.
You're doing great, Brandon.
Am I doing good?
Oh,
Layla,
yeah,
hello. Zahara, already excited to see your presentation. I haven't even started and you're excited. Aw.
And like you said, there might be people who
Nancy says hi.
You are the only one I can hear. Oh, well, that's awesome. Yeah, I always prefer the phone because that way your computer can focus on the image and then you can call in. Hi, Mona. She says, hi. I just want to say hello. Also coming to you from Houston, Texas. I can agree with Christy. We had a massive storm roll through last night with lots of lightning and thunder. So that was, hello. Reem. Noha says she can hear me clearly. Hey, who said hey? Rasha, hi. Ahmed, yes, everything is totally okay. In fact, we needed the rain, so it's all good.
Brandon, there are a lot of people asking when is this the English session? So
this is the English session. We're in the English session, but I am trying to stall because I know that there are people joining in about 9 minutes. So I'm just saying hello to all my fans out there. So yes, hello, Sarah. Yes, you're welcome, Sarah. I see you. You've been waiting. Look, some people have been waiting 2 hours for this. Well, you know what? I slept in. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can start asking questions. Please do. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, ask questions away. I will tell you too, as you're thinking of questions, that is really awesome for this session. And I'm going to lay some ground rules, is that this session is really for kindergarten through 6th grade, right? This is focused on wonders. I'm sort of hello from Kuwait. Awesome. Well, hello. Um, hi, Sarah Fattel. I see you. Um, anyway, but I just want to put some context around what you're going to see. I'm also sort of assuming that you have access to Wonders, and your students would have a Wonders login. Now, if you don't have access to Wonders and you sort of maybe want to check it out, we do have a demo code that if you email, you could, I can share with you. So there's that. I share with my students PD and extra resources. That's fine. Yeah. Hello. Lots of people. Okay. It's more people from Kuwait. I've used Wonders for the past 6 years. May soon. Awesome. Okay, don't send me your email. I'm going to give you my email. I see some people are throwing up their email right now. I'm not going to probably record that. So let me give you my email. And if you want to shoot me an email really quickly, then I can send you that demo code. Let me just put up a Word doc here, just a blank Word doc. So your screen's going to go white here. This is me. Okay. Brandon.harvey@mheducation.com. Okay. I'm going to make that a little bigger for you so you can see on your end. Okay. Doesn't even have to be a capital B. That is me. Hello from Doha. Well, hello. Yeah, a lot of you are throwing up your emails. It's going to, no, you're going to email me, right? Because I'm presenting. I can't write down all your emails right now. So brandon.harvey@mheducation.com. And if you want me to send you a Wonders demo code, you absolutely can. If you know who your McGraw-Hill rep is, you can reach out to them. And then at the end of this session, right, don't leave until the very end, because we will put up all of the McGraw-Hill International social media and emails so that you can get in touch with somebody that's more local.
عندي دورة هلا عندي دورة تشتغل أنا بحب الزر.
Hey guys, I can hear you talking. You may want to make sure you mute your telephone. Somebody's got some kiddos over there. I can hear them.
Hello.
Make sure you're muted. There you go. Thank you. To get in touch with me, Brandon.Harvey. Hello from Lebanon, Beirut. Awesome. Okay. Hello from Turkey. Awesome. I've been to Turkey before. That's awesome. And but I haven't been to a lot of the Middle East. But we're gonna try to get me to Dubai one day, aren't we, guys? Yes, we are. Okay.
Yes, we are.
So we're about 5 minutes before my scheduled time. So like I said, yes, hello from Riyadh. Thank you. You would welcome me to Dubai. Hello from, I would love to go to Cairo. I'm very intrigued by Egyptian history. Yay, woo woo to Egypt. Oh, you're Egyptian in Saudi Arabia. Okay. Yes, if you email me, Maya, I will send you that demo username and password so you can get on to this. And even if you don't have an account, I'm going to show you a lot of just resources that you might be able to download and so forth. So I'm going to close my chat box. You guys can keep sending questions. Okay. I will pause maybe in the middle and then of course at the end to answer questions. And so here we go. So what you're looking at right now, if you can't hear me, right? If you can't hear me, you need to maybe dial in on your phone. Look at me, I'm like doing stuff. Maybe they can see me, but Hey guys. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the platform here. And a lot of you may know me. I'm in the Wonders resource. I'm in the videos for phonics and for grammar, and also in the professional development videos. You can also follow me on Twitter at bowtieharvey. So if you have a Twitter account, just send me a little request to follow on Twitter at bowtieharvey. Normally I would have a bow tie on, but I don't. I also normally have dark hair, but when you're in quarantine, you just go crazy and you bleach out your hair. So there you go. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I'm going to show you this. This is the teacher dashboard. Although I'm logged in as a 4th grade teacher, it doesn't matter whether you teach kindergarten all the way through 6th grade. All of the buttons are the same. The dashboard and the website is laid out the same. I also want you to notice that over here is now what you're seeing is the student dashboard. And again, this is grade 4. So, but it would look very, yes, this is being recorded, y'all. So don't worry. This is being recorded. But what I want to also let you know is that no matter kindergarten through 6th grade, it's going to look and feel the same. Okay. Also, there is Wonders 2014. There is Wonders Copyright 2017 and Wonders Copyright 2020. It doesn't matter what version you teach. Yes, so that's great. I'm sure many of you might teach multiple grades. That's great because it's all going to work the same. So I just want to show you the first thing. If you need to move around to different units, okay, you right here can, in this blue band, you can select different units to jump around to, okay, just by simply clicking unit and the week. Okay, so you can see right now my calendar has me at unit 4, week 4, and you can see I'm on day 1. Now, if I want to get into materials, once I find a unit and week, right, and I want to dig in, I can start opening up this whole group band here. Y'all see I just click on that little arrow and it opens it up. Now, let's think about this. I'm sure you've heard this if you listen to the math or the science. These are unprecedented times. I don't think anybody expects you, and I don't want you to expect this of yourself, to feel like you have to teach 2 hours or an hour. You know, when you're teaching remotely, right, you need to really think about, what are my priorities? Now, number one, I would say this: what is your principal? What is your school? What is your district? What are they sort of saying? If you can't hear me, I see a lot of people saying they can't hear me. If you can't hear me, okay, then you can dial in on your phone.
A lot of people
you guys, as you're monitoring the chat and the Q&A, maybe y'all can respond because a lot of that's popping up on my screen. But what I want to talk to you about is
people who are
your priorities. You know, if I'm teaching kindergarten, if I'm teaching 1st grade, I think my priority would be making sure I teach all of the sound spellings for phonics and making sure that my students can decode. If I'm thinking about my older boys and girls who are in 3rd grade, 4th grade, right, like my 9 and 10-year-olds, then you're going to want to maybe focus on comprehension. You may want to have a focus on, hey, I just want them to be able to write a really good paragraph. So you want to think about narrowing your scope of focus, because here, when you go online, you're going to see everything as if you are teaching a full, hour and a half or 2-hour literacy block. And that's not going to really be possible when you're teaching remotely, okay? So if I look again at this, people need to mute. Okay, please mute your phone or mute your computer so that everyone can hear me and not all the background noise of wherever you might be. Double check, triple check. Yeah. See, I can't hear anybody. I just hear me. So, and maybe some of our hosts can make sure that all guests or participants are muted. Okay. What I want to make sure, though, is that you see how I can move from units by simply clicking in units. I can move around to different units and weeks. I can then see what day in that week I'm on. So this is my day 1. So maybe all I want to focus on is teaching vocabulary. So I click on that. And when I click on that, you notice here you get a little blue band. So I'm in the vocabulary mini lesson. Notice it's about 10 minutes. That's perfect for doing something remotely. The other thing that I want to let you know is that when you click on this specific lesson for this unit and week, look right here in the middle of my screen. All of my lesson resources are right here, right? I don't have to go hunt and find the games, right? Or even look at this. I'm going to scroll over a little bit so you can kind of see most of it. This is all of the differentiated practice, right? So when you see A, yes, they're downloadable, Ahmed. Yes, they are downloadable. We'll talk about that. But A is for approaching. When you see this that says your turn, that's sort of the on level. B is beyond level, and E is for ELs. So if you're dealing with students who speak multiple languages and they are just learning English, they are acquiring English. If English is not their native language, you would really like the EL support, right? Because and look, all I have to do is put my mouse over any one of these practice pages, click on it, and now here's the trick. If I open up in the original format, okay, if you're taking notes, write this down. Original format is a PDF, okay? What can I do with a PDF, folks? No, there's not yes, there is a teacher guide. We'll talk about those resources. But what you're going to see here, when I have a PDF, I can download this, and anything that's a PDF I can download, I could email, or I could share with my students. If any of you are using Google Classroom to share things, some of the things in Wonders are shareable, but here's the deal. If you just share through Google Classroom, the students have to have a student login. But if you download it and then share it, you're just sharing a PDF. They don't have to have a Wonders login. Let me say that again. I want you to make sure you understand me. If you share, let me show you. Who's that? If I came over here and I click on this game and I want to share through Google Classroom, your students have to have a Wonders account to get to it. Okay? But if it's a Blackline Master and I want to download it, right? What did I say I'm going to do? I'm going to click on it. And what version? I open original format. I can download that and then share that practice sheet. Okay. Now, if you do have student accounts, good, I'm glad you got it. If you do have student accounts, then anything, let me come back to that. Anything that when you click on the wheel, yes, there's answer keys. I'll show you those. You guys are so funny. Y'all are like on it. Where is this? If you have student accounts, you can assign these resources, right? And they will go to that student dashboard. But that's only going to work if you've had a username and password for your kiddos, okay? And you would probably know if you have student accounts, okay? But I just want to show you that you could find these things. Now let's think about this. What if you don't have student accounts? Maybe you're meeting with your students on Zoom, or you're using Screencastify through Google Chrome. You're doing some kind of way to record your screen and send, videoed mini lessons, however you choose to do that. Guess what? You could open up this visual vocabulary. I'm going to make this full screen. And I can click on each word, right? There is audio support for the word. There is a routine, define, example, ask. And the ask part could be the interaction that you do with your students, okay? So maybe they write it down. Maybe they do it on a Google Doc and send you their answers. Or maybe if you do a Zoom meeting, right, where you're meeting with them live, they would be able to respond back to you. Okay. And so you're going to see, I can use the arrows down here and I can see, crescent. And there's, like I said, there is audio with each one of those. If I go back home, you're going to see these are my key 8 vocabulary words to know. If I was in kindergarten or first grade, remember that would be my decodable words. That would be my high frequency words. Okay. Now you can't really progress monitor. This is not something that whether or not they, even if you assigned it to them, you don't really know whether they're doing it or not unless you have some kind of way of asking them questions. Or guess what? What could be a very easy sort of check-in? Then you would be able to assign them a practice page that would be a great way for them to sort of check in with that. So you have 4 versions. I see a lot of teachers who might like to do the approaching level, which tends to be about 6 months to a year below grade level. Do that whole group, and then you could assign the your turn practice. Okay. So I want to go back. I'm going to click on the Wonders logo at the top of my screen. That's going to bring me back to the home screen. Okay. And remember, I choose my unit and week. I go to a specific day. I open up and I choose. Am I doing all of this? No, right? I'm doing what's really key for me, might be that vocabulary lesson. And then maybe on day 2, notice what I did. I clicked on day 2. I've got my mini lessons, but what am I really focused on? Maybe it's just the skill, right? And maybe the vocabulary, maybe 2 things out of this whole thing. And when I click on that, look what I get. I get a little mini lesson that, again, I could record or share, live with my students. I've got a graphic organizer. Now, how do I share, or how do I, again, click on the wheel. I could assign this, right? Or I can open up this interactive mini lesson here. And I've got drawing tools, typing tools, highlighting tools. All my tools are down here, but the teaching is right here on the screen. Boys and girls, one kind of text structure that authors use to organize information is cause and effect. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm literally just reading the I do. This is the we do part. When an author writes a cause, it is something, and then I click the arrows, okay, and see, look, everything you need is right here to model for students how to find cause and effect out of this story. We even pulled chunks of the story out. Okay, this is an interactive mini lesson right here. Okay, that's what you just saw. The graphic organizer, notice if I click on that, it also opens up in this sort of you're in the interactive version because you see the gray bars on the side. You will also see, look at the bottom of your screen. Do you see how I'm highlighting the different interactive tools? So if I click on T for type, and I can choose my font, I can choose my font size, and then all I have to do is come up here and click, and I can type on here. Okay, so you could model using this graphic organizer. You will also notice over here in the bottom right-hand corner, could I print this out? Or if I sent this to students, right, I could click on this, print original, and it would print what's on my screen. But you could also find the original format. Remember what we've learned. There's an original format, which would be that PDF. And then again, you have any of the connected practice pages that you could send to students. Okay, even pages from the students' reading writing workshop book. Those of you that have used Wonders are familiar with the reading writing workshop book if you're using version 2014 or version 2017. Okay, and so here again is there's your mini lesson, cause and effect, text structure. Oops, that's a little too big. Bring it back down a little bit. Cause and effect, text structure, and following that that I do, we do, you do pathway. Okay. And even all of our books, right? The leveled readers, the literature anthology, all of those also have audio. Okay. But again, in order to send assignments, you have to have student accounts. And if your district or school has not purchased student accounts, it'll be a little hard. Okay, let's go and pause there because I covered a lot of great information, and I just want to get maybe rapid fire some questions, no matter how simple or easy. Can I have somebody read me the questions, please? And then I'll try to answer them very quickly.
Can you hear me?
Questions that we have so far.
خلي زينة تستفيد منه. عن جد كل الدروس شوفيهم.
Have anybody to help me with the questions?
لا خلاص أنت أعطوك أنت كلمة.
No? Okay, then I'll do it myself.
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
so
Hello?
someone might be having their mic open. It's noisy. I have a big problem when I assign a task, the resource to students, all the problems come from usernames and passwords. Yeah, that's where you're going to want to reach out to your district administrator or your school administrator, or you may need to call the tech support if you have issues with problems with usernames and passwords. Why don't you provide an online system for grading? I don't know. We're not going to go there right now. Last time I shared with a reading assignment and asked them to record it while they are reading, but when I received it, it didn't open. Again, those are technical issues. I'm not sure. It could be your computer. It could be your software. So there's that. When I connect to Google Classroom, it never works. I'm going to show you at the end, Asma, sort of our tech support, the help button, and it has a lot of great information on using Google Classroom. So we'll go there. We can't share at the same time. We need to assign it first, then edit the assignment, share the assignment related. Yeah, if you assign something, I'll show you if you have student accounts. I will share the demo logins if you email me, okay? And so my email is in the chat box and probably in the Q&A box. What about the Wonders ELD work text? Yeah, if you have the Wonders ELD work text, it's going to work the same. You can interact with it. We'll talk about that. But we're not really focused on Wonders ELD. But if you have that, it's going to work just like any of the other sort of like ebooks that the students have, whether that's the literature anthology or the reading writing workshop. Okay. All right. Can you edit the weekly plan? Yes, you can edit the plans. I'll review that. Okay, I'm going to go there. So again, nope, I cannot hear you. Nope. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I think I kind of scrolled through and saw some Q&A there. Let's talk about the calendar, which is how you can edit the weekly plans. Now, you can also, if you are in your planner, you can edit that day by day, but I'm going to start at the bigger, broader calendar level. And that's as easy as clicking when you're in the calendar. How did I get there, y'all? Go to plan, and I click on calendar. And next to each day, you have a drop down. So if you need to move something over, like for example, you can see here, Unit 4, Week 4. This is the week of April that I'm in. Here's April 10th, which right now in America, it's Friday, April 10th. I cannot hear anybody if anybody's trying to talk. I don't hear anything.
Hi, Brandon, can you hear me?
So next to the date, notice if I add a non-teaching day, watch my screen, boom, it scoots everything over, right? But you know what? Then I've got this day 5 hanging out over here on the next week. Maybe I want to condense it. Notice I could condense the lesson block by getting rid of day 5. And now it's all in one week. So those are a couple of ways you can adjust your calendar. You can also take whole lesson blocks, right, and move a whole lesson block. So like a whole 5-day lesson plan, you could move that around. And if you wanted to, like this non-teaching day, see how I moved everything over? I could remove that, and then it puts it back the way it was earlier. Okay, and if I wanted to expand, right, day 5. I could expand it. So now it's a 5-day lesson plan. Now, if I go to the weekly planner, so notice what I did. I was at the calendar. I just click on this tab that says weekly planner. You can manipulate, right? Remember when I was showing you at the very beginning of our session, I said, what if you just want to focus on vocabulary? I can move things over, but then I don't want the second day to be long. I can also click and notice I can move to a holding bin. See, there's a holding bin over here. It's not deleting it. It's just moving it off of my plans. So now maybe all I want to, like I said, I want to focus on is, is moving, right? And so now look, day 1 is just vocabulary. Day 2 is just the shared read with a skill lesson. Day 3 is only my literature anthology, you know, and then maybe I might do an integration activity on day 5. I can really make my streamline my my planner. Okay, now I'm going to, we don't really provide curriculum mapping, but we do have a scope and sequence. Some people are asking. Okay, curriculum mapping would be a little bit more involved, and that's not really the focus of our presentation today. It's really about just how to find and use resources for teaching remotely. Okay, so yeah, feel free to pick up what you want. Okay, all right, now I want to, now that I showed you sort of a narrow view, like starting at the lesson level, finding those, I want to also show you just from this home screen. And again, remember, where am I? Unit 4, right? Week 4, that's where I'm at. I can see a presentation tool, folks, every day, every grade, ready, made. Okay, so this is my day 1 presentation. When I click go, and so this would be useful, okay? This would be useful if I'm able to screen capture and record my screen to send to my students, or think about if you're doing a Zoom and you want to share your screen, you could pull up this presentation and then notice this arrow sort of at the top here where my mouse is next to the words lesson resources. I can click and I can get any connected lesson resources, right? Like here is a leveled reader, right? And look, even the leveled readers have audio support. There's all kinds of interactive tools like highlighter, pen, note taking. But what I want to show you is when I click, see this little tab under the words lesson resources? This is where I can see all of the different slides for this particular unit and week. Okay, so this is my interactive presentation. If I were to come over here to day 3 or day 4, right? Oh, great. I hear some people who use this every day. That's awesome. Great job. But if I come over here to some of the other days, even though this looks the same image, it would be a different presentation. And the presentation is whatever is in your plans. So you see how I've really minimized my plans. So here, you know, if my day 3 is really just going to focus on that literature anthology. Okay, so we know how to focus in on a lesson. I showed you today's presentation. Now let's look to the far right of our screen, and it says weekly printables. These, okay, are also interactive format, right? Which is what gets sent if you assign this. Your students will get it in an interactive format so that they can do on their device, on their computer, on their tablet, with all those typing tools and highlighting tools. But if you don't have student accounts, you can open as an original format, download it to your computer. Okay, so you've got grammar, the your turn, the beyond, the EL, the phonics and spelling. These are all of the different worksheets that could be sent. Y'all don't send all of them. You know, no kid wants to sit and do 20,000 worksheets. Okay, and that's not very engaging, right? Be choiceful. And the thing is, though, these are everything for the week. So if you were to send or download or open this, right? Let me just show you. I'll open in the interactive format, like my students. This is like what my students would see if I sent it to them through the ConnectEd account. There's 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5. There's 5 grammar pages here, y'all. It's 1 a day. So you could send it to them at one time and say, I just want you to do 1 grammar page a day. Again, if you don't have a Wonders account, open original format and then download. And again, that's also how you'd want to use it via Google Classroom. Okay, so you have all of your printables. The last thing I want to talk about here on the home screen is this week's, yeah, and absolutely, sometimes you need those practice opportunities, right? They are good for practice. I just don't want it to be, that's all you do is just send worksheets home. That's not instruction, right? Not a big fan of just sending packets and packets and packets of things, okay? But you also have any connected games and activities here. And again, you could, if you're doing something virtual, you're sharing your screen, you're recording it, you could, you know, have kids play this with you if they were able to interact with you, like on Zoom or some kind of, you know, WebEx meeting where you were meeting with them, but then you would be able to drag and drop and sort of interact with the spelling and the phonics words here. Also, remember, what's my friend? What have I been saying all morning? Is that you've got your cog, that wheel. So you could assign this resource or you could share it via Google Classroom, okay? But again, if you share via Google Classroom, it will only work if the students have a username and password to log in with, okay? If your district has it, you might be having, your kids might access it by going in through a portal such as Clever or Schoology or ClassLink, right? If that's how your students have normally accessed their Wonders account, they have to do that first. They have to go in and log in. We call that a single sign-on. Go in through Clever or Schoology, launch the book, then they can open up another tab on their screen and go in and open up Google, okay, sign into Google, and then it will work as well. If they don't, they're going to get, if they just go straight to Google Classroom and they want to open this game or this worksheet, it's going to ask them to sign in, okay? All right, from here, the next thing I really want to focus our time on is the resource library, okay? Now, under the resource library, again, yours might look a little different depending on what you have. My account has intervention and has EL. So you heard some people talking about ELD. That's where they would find the ELD work text, okay? But we're focused on the core right now for today. So I'm going to come here. Under, one more time, resource, clicked on resource library. Remember, where am I at? Unit 4, week 4, okay? And then over here on the right-hand side of my screen, I see these little dots, day 1, right? Day 2, day 3, day 4. Then what you see are, these are all of the slides that are in that presentation I showed you. This is also a place where you could click on that wheel and you could open or assign this resource, okay? Same thing for any of the graphic organizers or additional tools. You also have this tool, which is your materials. These are those games and those worksheets that I was showing you. This is this accessing the same thing that I showed you from the lesson level, but I'm showing it to you here from the presentation. Now, if I keep scrolling down in my resource library, these are all the resources, okay? This is not a narrow, this is very broad. So for example, the ebooks, right? This is where, you know, kindergarten, if you're in kindergarten, you'd see your big books, your literature anthology, the reading writing workshop book. These are also things that you could assign. You cannot download. Let me say that again. With the ebooks, you could assign, you could open this up and you could record your screen, but you cannot download it because it is copyrighted text, right? Just like you can't go to the library, or, Amazon and download, a book without somehow paying for it. But typically, you wouldn't just be able to download a book. Okay. But again, you have audio. Let me see if y'all can hear some of this coming through. I don't know if any of that's coming through. Okay. Just because I'm on my headset, but you can see it's reading. Woo. There it goes. Okay. I need everybody to mute again because I can hear people talking. There we go. Yep, I can hear you. Please make sure you're muted. Wow, I don't know what
People, please mute yourself. Mute. Thank you.
بفهم كل شيء بفهم ايه بس هذا مقطع الصوت طبعا.
Thank you.
I see somebody even now they're typing in error.
خليه تخلص.
حمد نايم ابنك زيزو؟ ايوه ميت. ميت من اصلا خبطت من
Brandon, isn't this fun?
Christy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Brandon, can you hear me?
No, Brandon is not able to hear us. He can hear.
I'm hearing you now. Yes, I am. I'm hearing all the.
ليش ما بتتواصلوا؟ كل الرفقات كانوا يتواصلوا مع انسي سارة. ايه تواصلوا معه شوف ايش بتعطي.
I can hear people speaking Arabic, I think.
I don't understand that though.
Please, we can hear you.
I can hear people speaking Arabic.
Can you tell them in Arabic to mute them?
هذا أجنبي ما بفهم.
I don't speak Arabic and neither does Brandon. It would be really helpful if you could tell them in Arabic to mute.
There we go. That sounds better. It's getting better. Thank you.
ما بعرف عم تقولوا ما بستعمل عربي خلص معي.
Thank you.
Oh. There we go. Mucho better. I can't. Yeah. Some.
معقول؟ اسمعي ايش كتير صوت يعني مبين.
Nope. We're hearing people again.
لا هن بسكروا الميكروفون أنا بعرف.
I think someone explain the other people to mute.
حط سماعات نحن نسمع.
There we go.
Hopefully. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, that was weird. All of a sudden, all of that started coming through. Thank you, Amani. Thank you, Amani. Yes, you informed her. But that was interesting. Obviously, she's trying to listen to this webinar, but can hear a lot of kiddos over there at her house as well. All right, so we are here in the resource library, and I just wanted to show you have access to all of these various resources, okay? And many of them are downloadable. So, for example, if you go to the student practice sheets, look at all of the various practice pages from grammar to the differentiated practice, phonics and spelling, handwriting, okay? When it says your turn practice book, that's sort of the one on level book. But you can see also how pages are organized here and you could scroll through. But the best thing is to use the filters on the side. Okay, so I'm going to choose the Your Turn practice book. And now I'm only seeing this one book and it narrows the amount to sort of scroll through and look at. Okay, and so if I see something I like, for example, this practice page from Unit 1, Week 2 on idioms, I can click on it. Okay, I could model this for my students, or what's my friend? I click on the cog. I can open up in an original format, save it to my desktop. Now let's, because we have all different kinds of users on the screen, but I just want to highlight that if you do, right? If you are a person that's listening and you do have a student account, you can assign things digitally, right? Through the ConnectEd platform, through the Wonders platform. And so I can click on that wheel. I hit assign this resource, right? And y'all, I'm doing it with a worksheet, but I could do this with an ebook. I could do this with a leveled reader. I could do the same thing with a game, okay? Yes, you usually assign this way. Perfect. So I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to say idioms practice sheet. Probably want to get it back to review. Now, somebody was asking about student audio recorder. I'm going to make my screen a little bigger so y'all can see. Right here, when I'm assigning things, you can turn the student audio recorder on or off. Typically, I would turn it on if I was assigning a book, like a leveled reader or a decodable passage or something where I want to hear my students reading. But that is an option so that they can record their voice. Okay, and I'll show you that in a second. The next thing when you're making an assignment, what is so important is you give directions. Okay, I'm just typing nonsense here, but you would want to be very specific in your directions. And then again, you would scroll down and you would see your class roster here so that you could assign it to all of them, or you may want to, again, differentiate and give only certain specific students, okay, this practice page. All right, so I would then scroll down and I would hit assign, okay, and now that's been sent to my student's account. So go with me for a second because now I'm going to hop over. Yeah, if the students at your school don't have student accounts, this would not be possible. That's why I talked a lot about downloading the original format, okay? But here, let me just refresh my screen. You can see that these are where, if I'm sending assignments, right, to my students, they would go here to the to-do list. There's that idioms practice sheet. There it is, right there. See, I'm a student now. I would read the directions, okay? I would read the directions to my students, and I would click on the thing, okay? Some people are saying they're having a hard time hearing me, but my volume is up, and I am talking really nice and loud, so check your volume as well. But do not unmute, Lord have mercy. Okay, and then here, right, I could finish the sentence using the vocabulary words provided. So even though the girl was very tired, she desperately, right, so I would click T for type, maybe make it a little smaller, and I can come up here and I could finish the sentence, okay? She desperately needed. Then I would come over here. Oops, get up on the line a little bit. Help. Oh, that went below the line. She desperately needed help. Boom. So you could see that, and again, if I wanted, a drawing tool, if I need a line tool, whatever I needed to do, highlighter tool, I could do here. As a student, once I'm done, I save that. Notice what it says. It's saved to your assignments. It's saved in my virtual binder. Okay, so once I'm done, I save it. And notice what it did here. It has attached my work here. And look, I can even write a note to my teacher. Hi, teacher. This was a fun assignment. Okay, or I need help, whatever it might be. All right, somebody just unmuted. We can hear you again. And then I say okay. And now you can see that has been submitted to my teacher. So I'm going to hop back over to my teacher side. I'm going to go here to my assignment manager. Okay. And I can see the assignments that have been sent. So down here is my idioms practice sheet.
ما عم بحكي روحي شوفي ليقوم بابا تشعل عنده ضوء.
There we go. Thank you. I think they knew they were unmuted. Once I open up this assignment, I can click on view. Okay, and now I'm actually looking at my student's assignment by clicking right here, right? See, it says view. I want to view their work, and there's the work that I just did. Okay, and then I can notice my student comment is here. I can, say something back to the student here. If I wanted to give corrections, rather than marking as completed, I could give them some feedback and look over here to my right. I could return this assignment back to my students. Okay, but if I'm fine with it, if I'm not really taking a grade, I just say, great job. I can mark as completed and hit save. Okay, and so then when I go check my assignment manager, notice that not only is it showing one has been submitted, it also shows me over here one has been completed as well. And so this is just where you can sort of track. These are all just kind of demo assignments that I have done. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to want to maybe take a look at the Q&A box. And so let me scroll down. Parents and students need training for this. And I have created videos, you guys, that really go through sort of the student dashboard and the teacher dashboard. Again, you can email me. I can send those, or maybe the Middle East team can post those on a McGraw-Hill site that your customers, all of these teachers could access. When I assign something on a student account, will they get an email? No, they do not get an email. They have to log in. If it's a PDF, can it work as interactive? I'm not sure about that. If you have tools on your Chromebook or laptop, there may be some tools that allow you to fill in a PDF, but that's going to depend on your device. Looks like, hello, people are telling people to mute.
Brandon, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. So I can read a few questions for you if you want.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you.
The first one is, what is Exile correlation between Reading Wonders and Literacy Anthology? Reading, Writing Companion and Literacy Anthology, how do they relate?
Great question. So let's talk about that. So the Reading Writing Companion, did you say companion or workshop?
Companion.
Okay, if you have the Reading Writing Companion, that means you're using Wonders 2020. Okay, and that is basically the same thing as the workshop book. It's just in the newer version, it changed names. So, okay, so your reading writing companion. So your Reading Writing Companion is your core tool that has your shared reads. It has your ability to write about the text. It's got your mini lessons. The Literature Anthology is a companion to that. Just like if you're in Wonders 2014 or 2017, it starts with your Reading Writing Workshop. This is your teach and model tool. This has your mini lessons in it. And then on days 3, 4, 5, then you move to the anthology. And if you're in the exact same unit and week, those all line up. So the connection is that you have different stories, right? But it all has the same theme, same genre, same skills, same vocabulary, okay? And that's why sort of looking at things here in the presentation tool or going all the way back to what I started our session today, looking at sort of the whole group and going day by day. So here, see my shared read that you see on my screen. That would be in my Reading Writing Companion if I'm in 2020, or the workshop book here for 2017. And then notice here on day 3, now it goes to that literature anthology, right? Different stories, but all connected through that same essential question. All right, another question for me.
Okay, my resources are full in the assignment. How can I erase it to share my PDF, PowerPoint, or videos with my students?
Ask me that question one more time.
I didn't get it quite well, to be honest, Brandon. And it says my resources is full in the assignment. How can I erase it to share my PDF,
okay,
PowerPoint, or video with my students?
Okay, so I think what she was talking about is maybe her assignment manager is full.
It's full, and she's not able to erase it.
So you can come over here to details. Okay, watch that again. I go to assignment manager. Over here on the far right hand side, you see where it says details? That is a link. And then look right here, delete. So details, delete. And then that will delete the assignment, and that may open up some space. But I didn't know, what's interesting about that question is I didn't think the assignment manager could actually get full. I think it's an ongoing, process. So that's interesting that she was saying her assignment manager was full. I wonder if maybe you just got to scroll through, but that's how you delete assignments, is go to details, and then just over here on the right-hand side, you can delete that assignment. Okay, another question?
Okay, another question is, this is related to the monitoring. So can you assign the progress monitoring assessment and ask students to record themselves reading it?
You could. That would assume that the student has a way to record themselves. We don't provide any sort of, when you assign, well, let's think about this question now that my brain's going. If you were to assign an assessment through the online assessment center, there's no recording capability, okay? But watch what I'm going to do. If I come down here to my assessments, okay, and I go to, a progress monitoring, or sort of basically what we call a weekly assessment, if I, see, it doesn't allow me to assign it. I was thinking I could assign it through the assignment manager, but it's not going to allow me, because if I was able to do that, I could turn the audio feature on. So I think, unfortunately, for your question, the answer is probably no. There's not unless the student has a way to record their screen and send that to you, and that has really nothing to do with Wonders. Okay. Yeah, next question.
This is about printables. Are the printables the same pages of practice book or the grammar book?
Yes, they are the same. So again, depending on the version of Wonders, in 2020, we combined the grammar and everything into one book, and it's called Practice Book. So it's all there, versus being sort of split apart like it is in Wonders 2017 and Wonders 2020, where they have an individual grammar book and an individual phonics and an individual, comprehension. So again, it's all the same practice. It's just kind of slightly formatted differently. Okay.
How much time do you have, Brandon? Do we have time for more questions? There are a lot of questions.
Let's go for it. I feel like this is a bigger benefit if we are answering the questions that people have.
Yes, I agree. So it says, can the leveled readers, can they be downloaded?
Great question. So when I come over here, right, I'm in my resource library, okay, and I'm under the category. Let me just show you. I'm under the category. It's number 2 in my list, leveled readers. Click on that. Right here, what does that say? Can you read that with me? It says printable leveled readers. When I click on that, guess what? That is, just open that up. That is a PDF, printable, downloadable version. Now, guess what? You're not going to have any audio. You're not going to have any interactive tools, but that is a printable, downloadable version of the leveled readers. And it's called Printable Leveled Reader. Okay, next question.
Thank you. Is there a way to get the text of the reading text? Like, can I copy and paste the stories without the pictures in the background?
You can try. I really wouldn't recommend that because that's technically breaking copyright. But you could always try. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people find creative ways to do things. So as a McGraw-Hill employee, technically I can't tell you, yes, do that, because that would be breaking copyright laws.
Do the decodable books have audios?
They do. Yeah. So if I go into, let me come out of this 4th grade and let me go into a 1st grade account here. Oh, this one. Sorry, this one has never been opened up. Give me just 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I'm in a 1st grade account and I'm again going to my resource library. I'm going to go to my additional student reads, which are my decodable readers. And if I open that up, well, nope, that is a PDF. Let me see. I might need to access it through my resource presentation material, because I know that they do. I thought they did, but like, if you saw what I did right here, y'all, I just went to my ebooks and whoops, I went to my additional student reads, decodable readers. And when I clicked on that, there was not any audio. It was just a downloadable or shareable PDF. Let me try going in through the weekly presentation. Now, the decodables, you know what, though, that are in your reading writing workshop at kindergarten and 1st grade, those definitely have audio. Let me look under small group and see if I can see it. No, maybe not. I thought yes, but maybe not. I apologize if I got you excited for a second there. There's definitely a lot of decodable passages here you can see that are printable for kindergarten and 1st grade. Look at all this different practice for short A, but these are all just printables, so no audio. That's a bummer. Okay, next question.
Is there something related to improving writing skills?
Oh, that's a great question. So let me go back into my 4th grade account here. And again, I could have done it from any grade level. I'm going to go into my resource library. Let me just sign myself back in. But yes, there is, and I don't know, is the question asking about like writing a sentence kind of skills or thinking about just handwriting? But we do have both. So again, under resource library, okay, I'm going to scroll down and there's a whole section here. Oh, okay, you want to know both. Perfect. Under writing, okay, there are workshops, what we call workshops here under writing. And these, you can see narrative writing, personal narrative, explanatory, how to. These can be shared, again, with students. I can open this up as sort of like writer's notebook here. And this will walk me through the writing process. Everything from a guided model, interactive, to plan, draft, edit, and revise. Okay, and there's all kinds of resources here for that. This whole thing can be printable. Okay, I could print this sort of workshop. It's downloadable and printable. Let me open, I just downloaded it. I'm going to open this up. You can see here as a PDF, all of the steps. It all, reads it out to the students. It spells it out what they need to do, and really talks about the craft of writing. However, you will also see, if you just, and y'all, this is another great tool. I'm going to do it this way. Rather than going to the resource library, up at the very top of the screen, there's a search. So you see this little sort of magnifying glass. So I'm going to type in handwriting. And looky there, there is a cursive handwriting book, right? And look, there's the answer key. Somebody asked about answer keys earlier, and I didn't want to not answer when we were talking about a lot of the worksheets and workbook pages. When you go to the student practice pages here, for example, the Your Turn practice book, the answer keys are going to be under this category. And look right here, it's called Annotated Teacher Edition. So if you just, even in the search box, typed in the word annotated, right? That's where you're going to find the answer keys for the various practice pages, like handwriting, like the grammar, like the Your Turn, okay? But yes, there is sort of, go to the writing section and do those writing workshops for actually teaching the craft of writing, okay? Gives you some good ideas for doing process papers, but then again, you can search under handwriting, right? Which are just additional practice pages, right? There's the handwriting practice for that type of writing. I would also mention one more type of writing that could be really great since we're doing this distance learning is research and inquiry. Did you know that with every unit, there is a research and inquiry project? I'm just going to open this up and show you that you could send this to students, or you could print this out, and download and send to them. But it's a step-by-step, like here we're doing, researching our government, which would be the US government. But again, it steps it out. Step 1, step 2, step 3, create a project. And look, even all the way up through a student checklist, which is really powerful. And then I think you could assign this, let the kids work on it all week. And then maybe if you did a Zoom meeting with your kids, or a way to interact with your students, they could present their work to you on camera or virtually. So that's another type of writing. So you've got those under research and inquiry. Okay, another question. You'll have to unmute, I think, for us to hear you read the questions.
Sorry, Brandon. I was saying, if someone says, I have a problem that we don't have enough time to complete the lesson as it was planned on the site.
Oh,
it
of course.
needs around 2 weeks this way. What can I do? How can you help?
Well, I mean, it is a lot, and the lessons, if you were to do everything, right, is really designed for a 2-hour lesson block. And remember what I said at the very beginning of our time. Teaching digitally means you have to make choices, which means you have to think, what are the priorities for students? Like I said, kindergarten and first grade, it might be just phonics and foundational skills. Lots of reading aloud and creating language. But at my upper grades, maybe it is about just focusing on a comprehension skill. So I'm just going to do a skill mini lesson and maybe have them read a book. And where normally I might have them read the story and answer the questions and do a lot more with it, maybe I'm just going to have them read the story and journal and write about it. That's one of my big mantras in Wonders, is if we read about it, we write about it. So you just have to sort of be a little bit creative. I will say this. I'm going to come back over here to the planner. Do y'all remember the lesson planner? And I'm going to reset this to show everything, because I know I did a lot of dragging and dropping. You will see right here in the center, it says planner options. We have something called a core pathway. I want you to watch my screen. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit. Do you see how, watch the white boxes in the lesson plan. When I turn the core pathway on, do you see how it sort of grays out or blues out certain things? This is a great way to tell you what is core? What is essential? So anything that is grayed out is something that I could, you know, not do. In fact, notice I can actually hide these lessons. Watch this. I can turn that on and off. Do you see how it sort of shortens everything up? That's another great way to help you focus. But even by doing this, by turning the core pathway on and hiding those lessons, this is still probably way too much to be doing remotely. But this would allow you to then go, okay, I'm going to just do the vocabulary lesson. I'm going to just do the skill lesson, the literature anthology, you know, for a couple of days, and then, you know, maybe some kind of project or something, some kind of integration, you know, connection. And all the rest of this, remember what I said, I could move to the holding bin. So click on the wheel and you can sort of delete that off, or you can drag, watch this, I'm going to drag and drop this over to the lesson holding bin, maybe. And that can also, it should work. There it goes. Removes that off of my lesson plans. So that's another way. All right, another question?
Since it is distance learning, what is the best assessment that we can do to know the kids' progress, especially in kindergarten? Great one.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great question. That's a tough question.
Yes.
I think through conversation, I think by, you know, showing what they can do. Maybe it's drawing a picture, writing a word. You could try to send them, you know, some of the resources if you're able to send and receive resources. I don't have the best answer. I apologize. You know, my heart is saying I'm not concerned about grades, but I understand that you may be asked to still get grades. But just checking in with them, you know, and like I said, just whatever kind of thing that they might be able to produce, is all I can really say. Could be playing a game. It could be maybe they read a book with their parent. This is the thing. You know, you have to communicate with mom and dad. You have to communicate with the guardian, the people that are in the home, because especially at kindergarten and first grade, those parents, those people that are in the home are now like your co-teacher. They have to step up and take some responsibility too, because homeschooling is very difficult when you're not there. And a lot of times, especially in kindergarten and first grade, the student is right next to you. You're able to give that guided support. That now falls on somebody in the home. You've got to really make sure they understand they are your paraprofessional. They are your co-teacher. And so it's about bringing them into the situation, I think, as well. And that may really be a shift for some parents who are used to saying, oh, just go to school, the teacher will handle it. It's not like that. All in this together. Okay. Another question. I know we're about at our finishing time, but I'm happy to do a few more questions if you got any on there.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. Can I embed the mini lesson like in any other learning platform?
Probably not, because it's copyrighted. So unless you,
but I wanted you to say it.
Yeah, and so unless you open up your screen and you have a way to record your screen, you know what I mean? Like I have a program called Camtasia that allows me to record whatever is on my screen. That's the same thing as like Screencastify through Google Chrome. Then you would be able to do it, because then it's going to record it as an MP4, but not necessarily through anything that we have on our end. Yeah, you can use Loom. Yeah, use Loom to record. That's great. Other questions?
I guess that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I want to give the controls back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know you might want to share some emails, some phone numbers. Do y'all use the same tech support number as we do? Is it the 1-800 number?
No, we don't.
Okay, so you might have your own
Do you have login for a demo or login for Wonders that you would like to share, Brandon?
Oh, I do, but I think I just gave the presentation back to you.
Because there are a lot of people now asking about the login, so let me do that.
Yeah, bring that power back to me, and I'll put it up on my screen for the demo login.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to share that demo login. Sorry, the time went so quickly. I hope this was in some form or fashion helpful to all of you. And you know, like I said, be on the lookout. We'll probably continue to do some more of these helpful webinars. Okay, great. Now I'm the presenter. So let me show my screen. Awesome sauce. Boo, boo, boo. Do, 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 do. There we go. Here we are, folks. There's my screen again. Okay, so I'm just going to type this on a Word document. So the website you're going to go to, right, go to is my.mheducation.com. Let me make this a little bigger font so that you can see it. Okay. And then for the demo, this is demo only, right? So you're not going to have the ability to send and receive assignments to your students because your kids aren't going to have accounts, but this will give you teacher access, okay? And it's kindergarten through 6th grade, one login, K to 6. You're going to go to digital teacher, and this will be the 2020 version, so our most recent version. So the username, boom, is digital teacher. The password is MHE 2020 ELA. Grab your phones right now. Take a picture of my screen, right? Write this down, and this will give you demo access. You go to my.mheducation.com, and on that screen, you'll see a login, and you'll put in digital teacher, all one word, lowercase, and then the password will be MHE 2020 ELA. Okay, so take a picture of my screen right now, or write this down. I'm going to pop over, and I'm going to log out because I want to show you guys what that looks like. And I also want to show you the help menu that is here on my dot. So here's the screen, right? This is what I was talking about. When you go to, what is it again? my.mheducation.com, and the username box and the password box, right, are right here. Now, at the bottom of this login box, look carefully. In small little letters, it says need help. Click on that need help box. This will take you to our digital technical support, okay? And a lot of you are asking about Google Classroom resources, and you can access from here a lot of great articles, technical, frequently asked questions, navigation issues, and that, again, just lots of helpful tools on that site. Okay. All right. Does that work for you? Is that helpful? Okay. I'm going to send the screen.
Thanks, Brandon. Can't hear you. No, I can't. I don't know about others. Okay, I'm not now the presenter.
Okay, I'm going to make you the presenter.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much. It is an honor to be here. Please just remember to breathe. Don't try to do it all, okay? Your kids aren't gonna, it's not like doing a normal school day. You're just at home. That's you know, give yourself permission to go slowly, especially if you're dealing with the younger ones, okay? differently. So thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. That's a very important point. You know, we are in unprecedented times and we need to just ensure we take a moment, take a pause. Things are not going to go as they were in a normal classroom. So we just need to breathe and take that as it is. Take it slow. I would like to thank all the presenters here. Thank you for joining us, Christy, Jason, and Brandon. We understand this was a lot to take in. We had small 1-hour sessions and there were a lot of questions. We are overwhelmed by the response. So what we're going to go ahead is we're going to schedule sessions in the future that are more specific to the platform and just have science, math, or even within science have K-5 and then middle and high separately, just so we can, you know, accommodate everything better. A lot of people are asking about the webinar recording. Yes, we will be sharing the recording of the webinar with you. And we will share the one that was done on Tuesday, just because everyone who has missed the science session will be able to then hear the recording. So it will be science, math, and English all. Thank you for joining us, and you can stay connected with us through Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. If you have any questions, you can post it there as well, or in the chat box. Quick Q&A. There were a lot of questions that were still not addressed to, and I'm sorry, that's because of the time. But we'll get back to you about them. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.